Yeah, Coach, you've been in a lot of these scenarios. The Chiefs, they locked up the 1 seed, so their scenario is if they don't play guys in Week 18, they're going to have 2 weeks off. The Eagles, they locked up the 2 seed, so it'll just be Week 18 off, and then play the first week of the wild card. And Lions have nothing to play for tonight, but then have something to play for in Week 18. How did you handle these situations year by year as far as resting starters going in the playoffs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's a great question, and one that gets kicked around a lot. I think each situation's different, each team's different, and in the end, as a head coach, I think it's your responsibility as a head coach to do what's best for the team, and you just put the team first. So, in some cases, that could be to rest a particular individual, maybe who has a nagging situation or condition. If your team's not playing well, particularly in a certain area, maybe they need to play more. It's really hard to go to your team and say, well, we're going to rest these 5 guys, but we don't care about everybody else. We're going to put the rest of you guys out there. We don't care what happens to you. That's not a message I could ever give to the team. So if there was an injury situation, then that's one thing. I would say the guys that I had, the Bradys, the Gronkowskis, the Brewskis, Mike Vrabels, Rodney Harrison, those guys wanted to play. They practiced all year. They worked all year. They wanted to play. They never said, hey, coach, put me in. I don't want to play football. They complained when they had to come out. Brady complained when I put the backup quarterback in to take 2 reps in practice on Wednesday and Thursday. He wanted to take every snap. So that really was never a problem. Guys coming to me saying, oh, I'm too good, I don't want to play, or oh, I want to sit this one out. They wanted to be in there. So that wasn't ever too much of a problem. But in the end, I think you got to do what's best for your team. And honestly, if your team is in the playoffs, but you don't feel like they're playing very well, then I would play them more to sharpen up for the playoffs, because that not playing well going into the playoffs isn't going to last long. And so I think each coach has to, make that own determination. But look, if there's a player that is dealing with a chronic injury situation or a chronic condition, then I would absolutely rest that individual player, because if he's at full strength, it just makes you a better team in the playoffs.
Okay, so
I don't know if that answers your question or not.
No, it does.
It's a long answer to a short question.
No, you give a lot of situations or situational answers, which makes me feel good about the way I view things, because you can't give black and white answers for everything. Everything's different. Every situation is very different. Now, did you ever pay attention to, and once again, this is something you were in the position, I forget how many AFC championship games you hosted or whatever.
It's like 11
You have like the record of it, obviously, going into the season. Your teams have been playing well whenever you were coaching them. But like the Bills and Patriots, if the Patriots beat the Bills, the Patriots currently have the number 1 overall pick. If they beat the Bills, they drop out of number 1 overall. And then Giants-Eagles. If the Giants beat the Eagles, the Giants drop to like number 8 or number 9 for the pick. Now, I know that players and coaches can't think about this, but as a GM and somebody that has to be like front office wise, do those conversations ever enter into anything, or is it just we got to go play our game and let the cards fall as they fly at the end?
Well, I don't know. It sounds like it might have in Miami, with Coach Flores, because he brought that up about, the organization pressuring him.
Trying to lose
for a better draft choice. I mean, that was, I don't know if that's been resolved or not. I think it has, but that was kind of publicly talked about. I was never involved in that, but I could just, I don't know what happened somewhere else. It's different than the NBA. The NBA kind of rectified that by having a lottery. So even if you're the worst team, you're not guaranteed the first pick. In the NFL, that's not quite the case. If you are the worst team, you do get the first pick. And personally, I don't think it would be a bad idea for the competitiveness of the sport to do something similar to what basketball does. With those lottery picks. I mean, and that then we wouldn't be having this conversation. Well, we might be having it, but there'd be other circumstances besides just your record. There'd be actually a lottery part of it, but. That's not a decision for me to make. That's just a suggestion.
Well, I think if you were to give suggestions, people will listen to it. So that is good that you are doing that. We're thankful for that, especially with how you viewed it, having to pick 29 to 32 every single year as you were coaching in this entire thing. Not that you would ever be in the lottery. The NBA is crazy, though, because even though it is a lottery, some people try to tank for like a 6% better chance of this entire thing. Anything that happens, there's more bullshit that comes into it. But to be clear, the team that I was on, that was we won 2 games for the Andrew Luck. We ended up getting number 1 overall for Andrew Luck. And there was people calling it the suck for luck year. And there was our fans were showing up with like suck for luck signs, like trying to lose. And there wasn't a single player that was trying to. I wasn't trying to shank any punt ever. I'm trying to keep my fucking job like that. It's always, it's never players. Players can't do it. Coaches, same thing. But there's always a wonder if the franchise feels a certain way. Now let's talk about the number 1 overall pick currently. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously the Patriots. I mean the Titans right there too. I think the Raiders fan base as well. With these coaches who are in their first year, and things aren't going too well, what as a fan base or just as a team when you're looking at it, can you kind of point to as a positive? What should those type of fan bases be looking forward to or kind of be hanging their hat on when, they're running it back the next year? And how long would you say is kind of that window for a head coach, a new head coach, to kind of figure it out with the team?
Well, that's a great question. I'd say these days it's not very long. You see the coaching changes being made pretty quickly. Regardless of the amount of time that's left on a coach's contract, you don't see the Tom Landry situations too much anymore, where there's actually some patience in building. That's becoming less and less frequent. So, and even the owners that with the franchise is worth as much as they are. It doesn't seem to affect them too much to have these big payouts on multi-year contracts. That the value of the franchise just overrides it by so much. They don't really care. So that's a good question. I think, look, in the end, you want a consistent vision between the ownership and the people who are running the team, whether that's a general manager, the head coach, or some combination, cap person, whoever those people are. You want a consistent vision to run the team, and if you have that, then I'd say that's a big edge over a lot of other teams in the league. I think there's a lot of teams that don't have that, and that's probably the start of the really fundamental problem on the organization. So, what should fans hope for? I think really what fans need to hope for is a consistent vision from the team, ownership, head coach, general manager, cap guy, whoever that is, that there's a consistent vision there, that they make sense and that they have the discipline to follow. And if they have that, then they'll probably be all right. And if they don't, then they're going to keep bumping into each other. And I'd say it's hard.
Is there anything? Obviously, thank you for all that. But is there anything tangible that fans should look at to be like, yeah, this guy could be good coach, will be good coach? For instance, when Motor City Dan Campbell was with the Detroit Lions, they started like 0-10 up there, bad. And then the second year, they started out bad as well. Ownership, Sheila Ford Hamp came out and was like, I believe in the process. I believe in what's happening behind the scenes. I believe that they're getting better.